Welcome to another episode of Decoded, the podcast where we explore the intersection of tech education and real-world impact. Today, I'm joined by Othmane Benyoucef, doctoral researcher, curriculum expert, and a seasoned data instructor. We're diving into how smart learning design can shape powerful careers in data and AI. Whether you're an aspiring analyst, a bootcamp learner, or an educator, this episode will be packed with insight. Othmane, welcome, and let's start with your journey. You wear a lot of hats: curriculum developer, educator, doctoral researcher. Can you walk us through how you got here?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, first, thank you for having me. Um, so I started very early on. So I always had that fascination about computers and how they work. And actually I started coding and programming before I even get to university studies. Yeah, and I did it. I enjoyed it, and that's what led me there. I'd be like, okay, now it's time to decide what do I want to do with my life, and it chose computer science. So I started as a computer scientist at Harvard, and then I got my bachelor in computer science, and then from there I specialized in data with my master's and doctoral studies. But here's the thing: here's what interests me the most, because at the same time while I was studying, um, I can call myself a little tiny entrepreneur. I always had that fascination also about the business side, uh, and I was started as a freelancer before even graduating, and then built from there. So I was doing basically two things in parallel. So not just looking at the theory, studying, researching, but at the same time, I was dealing with real clients and real projects. And that always been my fascination. Okay, how to bridge the gap with all the cool things that we do in research and actually go ahead and apply them in real world. And yeah, that's been my journey since I had the opportunity and the privilege to work on with amazing different people from multiple disciplines in my research journey, which I learned a lot from. Um, and gave me a new perspective on how to be uh, a better educator as well. So I always say there is a difference between knowing the skill and teaching the skill. Uh, you can be like the best top line at your field, but if you do not know how to convey that message to new learners and newcomers that they still don't have any idea about it, um, you won't be able basically um, to teach those skill sets that you have. So yeah, so again, it seems crazy. I mean, at a certain points of my life, people were looking at me as crazy because I was doing research, I was running the business, and at the same time, I had some classes to teach. I mean, talk about overworking yourself or overload. So yeah, I don't recommend it to anybody. Looking back, just pace yourself, to be honest with you. But it just, this is me. I'm kind of passionate guy. So if there's something that I'm passionate about, I just go ahead and push myself. So doing these crazy things, and I love challenges. So hey, that's a bonus right there.
Absolutely.
Hopefully that give you an idea of.
Well, that's something that makes you stand out from the crowd in the first place. So cool. So, as an educator, in your experience, what are some of the biggest skills gaps that you've observed between graduates and actual job requirements in data and AI?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually, because a lot of students, whether bootcamp graduates or like even conventional degrees graduate, um, they struggle on applying what they learned into the real world. So for them, it's an unknown. Okay, I know how to do all these things. I know how to code. and so on and so forth. But how am I going to fit within a team or within an organization that they're going to have some expectations and some standards? Um, because when I was doing my assignments, it's straightforward. I have clear instructions. And when they get into a work environment, it's basically, in a lot of instances, not as precise as your homework assignments, and maybe a little bit bigger and more detailed. So I think a lot of it stems of just that fear of the unknown. Um, but if they just sit down, think about it, and basically try um, to use all those skills that they learned, it will make their journey easier, given that they were equipped with how to basically jump into that job. So this is what I like about Coding Temple. This is what we have in career services. So we get you ready to what to expect. Just as in general, as fitting in the new environment, the new company, and at the same time, on the curriculum side, we try to emphasize on doing. This is a big part of it. Not just knowing stuff, but doing. And once you do it one, two, three times, then you get more comfortable at it. Uh, so this is why I know a lot of people being confused lately in the job market. Be like, okay, now even the junior positions requires experience. So how am I getting experience? For experience, I need to get a job, and for a job, I need to get experience. So it's kind of like a circle right there, and people feel like it's an impossible scenario to break through. Um, One of the things to get over that is you need to show experience. This is again in the bootcamp format, is we trying to simulate that experience that you might gather in 1 or 2 years within a very short period of time. And that's why we push people to, hey, here are projects you need to do to build up your portfolio. This is your experience. This is what can talk about what you are capable to do. So that experience requirement is just to prove to the employer that you know those things. And then once they hire you, you're just going to fit in and basically plug and play. They're just going to plug you into the team that you need to go to, and you're going to start basically producing or performing since day one. If you don't have experience, you can prove that with the projects that you have. If you're showing up to an interview with a nice portfolio, with great projects, that's my proof right there. That's my proof of your experience. Yes, you experienced with this my programming language. You experienced with doing this or that. So I feel a lot of graduates underestimate the power of those portfolios and those personal projects when it comes into job search. Uh, the second thing also, which is a big part of it, is when you approaching a job, it's not just about your technical skills. Um, you're going to fit into a team. So you need to know how to communicate. You need to know how to be clear. You need to know how to understand people expectations. Um, you need to learn the company culture and how can you adapt and fit, because different companies have different cultures, and whatever experience you have, maybe from another workplace, might not apply for the new uh, company you go into. And those soft skills are big, big, especially a big factor for hiring people. Um, Mostly people want to work with someone that they can work with and easy to work um, with an average performance, rather than working with a high performer that's very difficult and very hard to work with. I mean, look at it from a manager's perspective. Imagine you have like a team of 12 that all hard to deal with, and they can even, I mean, between you and them, it's very hard to communicate between each one of them. And at the same time, it's going to be very hard for them to work as a coherent group if everyone, not flexible enough. So that I think that's something that a lot of graduates and job searchers miss, and maybe or not emphasize, or they don't think it's important enough. But actually, that's one of the most important factors. Um, I would say it might come even before your technical skill set. Um, so yeah, I think those are the big two.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like, like you say, technical skills people can learn, and a lot of people already have those. But when it comes to job search, it's the actual being able to talk about those skills and demonstrate what you can do, which people can do through portfolios and practicing, let's say, throughout their learning journey, practicing and talking about it. And then it's the gap in soft skills. It's the adaptability, both working in different teams and also with different tasks. So when we're thinking about really good learning kind of experiences, how do you think we should be building curriculum to align with those gaps in these skills?
Well, so here's the good news in this space, in the bootcamp space. So one of the multiple advantages is that the curriculum is easily adaptable with the current industry's trends um, than traditional, uh, 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 you know, educational pathways. So it has to be with constant monitoring because we all about getting students ready for the workplace, for get hired for job. So if we want those students to get hired and ready and be basically candidates that stands out, we need to equip them with the latest trends. So they need to be proficient with whatever the industry is asking right now, not what was very needed and demanded 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So in traditional curriculum development, the curriculum takes a very long time to develop. And in a fast moving area like tech, by the time that curriculum is ready and running for a year or two, it's already outdated. And by the time you get to the new trends and so on and so forth. So this is one of the advantages of these short uh, uh, programs like boot camps is, hey, we can adapt that curriculums on the fly. There's something that pop up now, AI, everybody talking about AI. How can we get AI ready professionals that know how to use AI in a good way that's not going to hurt them, not counterproductively, which is done. I see a lot of instances of this on the daily. Um, so constant monitoring of what the industry needs to be able to supply in with candidates that basically fill the bill.
Of course. And I love the fact that you just brought up kind of the latest developments, particularly AI. What are the trends and the feelings amongst data professionals and particularly hiring managers when it comes to searching for people who are knowledgeable in AI, thinking about their current hires?
Perfect. Yeah. And this is actually take me to a great point, which is something that a lot of people need to understand, which is you need to use AI as a performance enhancer. AI is there to help you uh, basically be a better performer, not as a replacement. If you use AI the wrong way, be like, hey, okay, you can do all these things that I used to do manually. So I used to work for 8 hours. Now I have an AI agent doing all that in 1 hour, so I can go home early. All what you're doing there is just making the case for your employer or your potential employer that you are replaceable. Um, yeah, I can just go ahead and do the same thing. I can hire AI. They work 24/7. They never complain. They never take sick days. I mean, you just making the case against yourself. And even if you do it that way, I don't think even the employer think that way and go that route. It will not be beneficial yet because we still not on 100% where you can trust AI to drive certain processes. The human factor, I believe, me personally, some people might disagree, but that human factor is still very important, very necessary, at least with the current state of AI. So we need to use AI to enhance our performance. So let's say, hey, that's the job that I used to do in a week. Now I can do it in a couple of days, um, and so on and so forth. And that's the candidates, type of candidates that employers looking for. I'm not looking for someone that gonna use an LLM assistant and just copy and paste whatever I ask them to do and just um, provide an sloppy, subpar product just because what the AI generated from the other end. They want professionals that are good at what they're doing and they know how to use AI to their advantage, not to their demise. So it is I would say now it is a required skill in a lot of these new positions that we see. So employers are really emphasizing, okay, how do you know how to use them? Because it's all about that performance. It's all about driving that performance up. And if you know how to use them right, you show how to use them right. You show that you are in control, and basically AI is just a sidekick that helps you get there faster. Um, that's the magic formula that these employers are looking for right now.
Excellent. And so, what would be some specific examples if you're an employer interviewing me, uh, and you ask me, tell me about your knowledge and use of AI in your day to day? What should I say? And what should I actually be learning as a new grad?
Perfect. That great question. I mean, this is something that where you need to stand out. This is something where you need to show that you use AI. Yes, of course. I use AI because it's going to make me do certain task faster. Give them example. Here's a tedious task that usually takes that much time. I can do it through AI faster with reviewing. I emphasize that you do not accept the AI result as is. You reviewing it and basically approving it before going to use it. Always prove your worth. I use AI, but here's why you need me because I'm the expert. AI sometimes can be misleading, sometimes can give you not so right answers. And that's why I'm here. That's what I do. Like the big decisions, the major work, I'm still doing it. And AI is just basically enhancing me to, or enabling me to do certain tasks way faster than traditionally or any traditional, um, basically a practitioner or professional. But it is very important to make the case for yourself. When they ask you about how do you know about AI, how to use it, they want to know that actually you do, and actually you know how to use it, but also they want to know that you basically to prove yourself. This is why, and it's a question for you to make the case for yourself as well. That's why you need to hire me. If I'm going to tell you, okay, as a data analyst, do you know how to use AI? If you're like, yeah, I know how to use AI. I can grab the spreadsheet, put it in Chat GPT, and do the whole analysis for me. So, and then I can present that to the board, and then you just telling them you're not going to do anything, which is the wrong answer. They want to know, okay, yeah, I use AI basically to clean my data or to identify like quick points that I need to pay attention to, and so on and so forth. It's again, it's just that sidekick, not the one that's going to do the job and you just sitting there and watching a screen of text being generated.
Nice. Okay. And so, what would be some of those concrete examples that people could today look into how to do and then be able to speak about this in the interviews?
Um, let's say again, so like let me keep up on that example that I just mentioned. So let's say as an AI or as an sorry, as a data analyst, one of the major time-consuming tasks are cleaning the data. So data is always messy. It's never perfect. So that's usually what takes most of the time, more often more than what the analysis is going to take you. Because bulk of the job is just to make sure that you have clean data. I mean, we have, you hear that everywhere in the data world, where we say, hey, crash in, crash out. So if you have trashy data coming in, you just not all whatever you're going to have from the other end, it's not going to be accurate and misleading if you choose that to take those data driven decisions. So I can use AI in multiple ways. Depends on how my data is stored. I need to make sure I can get a plan how to get there and clean my data. I can make it generate quick scripts for me that will do certain tasks. I can do it. This is the thing. This is also one important point for the students to understand. I don't use AI for stuff I do not know how to do. I use AI for stuff that I know how to do, but it's just going to do it faster. Like I can write that script that do certain things and clean the data in a certain way. But most probably might take me, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I can give it to a good AI assistant and it might give it to me in 30 seconds. That's the performance enhancements we're talking about. But at the end of the day, you still there to validate whatever coming from there. You're still there to do the analysis yourself. I'm not going to make AI do the analysis. I'm going to do it, but then I can do the tedious work of cleaning the data and so on and so forth. Because when it comes to the analysis, that's what my factor come in as an expert in data and my perspective. I know about the data. I have access to the subject matter experts. If there's something I don't understand, I can go ahead and write an email or pick up a phone about the certain process that the business has that AI cannot do other than provide the context. But again, you still can't avoid hallucinations and wrong answers as well. So those high stakes tasks that have, in my opinion, still need to do a manual or at least, review. And but as a data analyst, even if you just review, you kind of box yourself in because that AI gonna show you a narrative and you're just going to go by it. You're not going with that open mind. So there were a lot of articles lately about concerns about innovations in the age of AI. So if we all go in to use AI, we're all going to end up to very similar results. So which will basically hinder a little bit of that innovation side of it because AI is just trained on historical data, stuff that we did in the past. If we're going to rely on it, that innovative part of it, it's not going to be there. And that's that human factor that I was talking about.
Absolutely. And I guess that kind of leads me to the thought that, people could ask AI to analyze certain results of data that you collected, but like you say, one, we can get similar results, two, you can hallucinate. So, like you mentioned before, for example, in your background, you are very interested in business. So then you can take that data and analyze yourself, be able to analyze yourself through the lens of a business. Now, how could people who don't have certain context, so for example, someone's been hired as a data analytics person at, I don't know, an airport, how can they then upskill themselves to make sure that they're able to do all of that analysis?
Yeah, perfect. So let's say I grab all that airport data and feed it into some AI model, and it's going to give me a whole bunch of suggestions. Oh, I don't need to hire a data analyst. But there are a lot of, again, it's all about that context. What about the capacity, like the physical capacity of that airport? I might give you a suggestion. Yeah, it's going to drive growth, but you're going to hit like a wall, a barrier wall, because physically you do not have a capacity to accommodate all those passengers going through. Uh, how to get new contracts, same thing. Do you have enough runways or parking space to house all these new contracts? So, yeah, this is exactly what we do. Now, that's being said, it doesn't mean it's completely unusable like in a corporate enterprise level. But if you are like a small business owner, you cannot hire your own data analyst. That would be a good tool for you. Like, but still, don't trust it 100%. Still verify and try to have second opinion, and so on and so forth if you can. But if you do not have access, please, that will be a good point for you to start. But at an enterprise level, which I've seen before, even before AI, if you're looking at the data wrong and you give the wrong recommendations, that can lead to very bad outcomes from the other end. Because at a corporate level, everything is magnified, everything is multiplied. So any decision might have like huge impact on the other end. So if AI give you certain recommendations without having that context, without having a knowledge about uh, how the business operates, it can easily mislead you to that way. That's why I always, when I talk to my students, said, okay, when you approach an analysis, always come without any perceived or preconceived idea. It's This is very important. Let the data tell you the narrative. Um, when you use AI, a lot of times the AI is going to take that narrative. Yeah, they're going to use the data because it's be like, okay, this is something similar with the way that AI going to look at it. Okay, this is something similar to something I learned about in my learning process. And these were the outcomes. So here are the suggestions for you. And again, this is what we said. What can, even if it's true, what can be applied for one company and might not apply for another, even if they are in the same sector, same size, so on and so forth. So, yeah.
Nice, interesting. Okay, so that kind of points to another couple of skills and highlights some already we spoke about that analysts need to work on. One is critical thinking and making sure I've got no biases, so that's an important one. And the other one just emphasizes the adaptability and being able to learn the specifics of the role and the company you're in. And for example, preparing for interviews, the company you're interviewing with. So that's a really cool kind of thing to realize. So how should we be building curriculum in the boot camps and education overall to align with all of this information we just discussed to kind of teach people about the skills they actually need?
Yeah. So that's going back to how to adapt to these new trends. So constant monitoring of what the industry needs and go ahead and implement that and implement it as fast as possible, but very thoughtful. It's not, we don't want to just slap content and instead of having, making just student go to extra content for no reason. It has to be placed strategically. Um, so to not add much workload and at the same time, to equip them with those skills that they need comes times to get in front of an employer. So for now, it's all about AI. It's all about AI is way broader term, but in the current context, mostly it is referred to LLMs, large language models, and how can you leverage those large language models, um, you know, doing different processes. Now, here's the thing that I also would like to talk about, which is even um, during the boot during the boot camp as a student. So here's the mistake that I've seen a lot of institutions do, and I mean I'm guilty of it as well myself, um, which is when new technologies like this emerge, sometimes you don't adapt fast enough. Let me give you an example. So I know you can talk to any teacher right now and they can tell you how horrible it is because now students, they're not doing their essays. They go into Chat GPT and just copy and paste, and then that's what you're going to get. And it's bad. And we take a very strong stance. Hey, AI use is not allowed. If you caught using AI, this and that. Um, okay, I understand. But the problem here, to me, it's a failure on our end on teaching the students how to use AI properly. Because this is the improper way of using it. Is there a proper way of using AI to study and learn? Yes, you can. You can use it because, for example, um, when I was going to school, like if after the lecture, if I read something or I'm going through my exercise and I have a question, I might not have an answer till the next day when I meet my professor or the next week. Um, Now you can go ahead and get those. And well, you can Google it, but it's still, you're going to read through a lot of materials and so on and so forth. But now you can just go ahead and use those AI assistants to get a fast answer, at least to point you towards the right direction. And you have that conversation back and forth. And I can unblock myself in the little assignments or exercise I'm doing without waiting for someone to reach back to me. This is a good way of using AI as a student, or diving deeper into a topic that maybe not going to be covered that deep, but you are interested in, and so on and so forth. But if you do not teach them those things, if you do not teach them, hey, if you use AI to produce these answers, you're not going to get the most out of these assignments. And this is why we want you to do these assignments. Here's our objectives: 1, 2, 3, 4. So do yourself a service and work through it because these are the skills that you're going to train yourself. And these are the skills that you're going to gain from doing this. You can use AI, but here's the proper way of using AI instead of be like, no, it's banned. You're not allowed to use it. And when you tell them it's banned, it's where, I mean, even me, if you tell me you don't use that thing, I'll be like, yeah, is it a button? Let me go ahead and try to press it, see what's going to happen. It's just the human curiosity, I guess. Um, so yeah, I feel like it's a failure on our end of not teaching them right if we get to that, to basically to that point. So we definitely need to look at these things carefully, and we make sure to include them and incorporate them in our curriculums. So the students learn how to do stuff the right way. We cannot blame them for something that we didn't teach. We cannot blame them for using AI, but we never teach them how to use AI. So basically, this is my opinion about it.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. That's why I kind of took exactly this direction at Coding Temple, rather than say, no, no, AI policy, you don't use it, or we fail your assignments. We purposely baked it into the curriculum and encourage people to do their assignments using that as an assistant. And then we show them, one, the critical thinking behind it. I know, Othman, you yourself improved our curriculum, particularly in data analytics pathway, exactly giving students examples of, where AI hallucinates and so on. Just show them the blind spots and then teach them how to use it properly, which is, in my opinion, also the best way. Cool. So as we're on it again, so what is your opinion actually about the tools that people in data analytics use and their AI is built in, for example, within Tableau, within Power BI, and all of those? Are they any good?
I would say, yeah. I mean, they good, but again, still need that review. Still need that need the review. For example, as a data analytics professional, let's say you're working and you have your Tableau system and you're producing these dashboards, and a lot of times at the executive level or the managerial level, they want to see some type of data maybe that's not in the dashboard yet as fast. And we used to pull these like on-demand dashboard or on-demand analytics. And this is a feature that all these products used to have, like, okay, allow you to quick and dirty create a report, just drag and drop few fields or generate charts and so on and so forth, is just to allow users the flexibility. If they want to look at something a different way that the dashboard is providing, they can go ahead and do it. Now, with these AI tools, it takes a lot of that, of them thinking like a data analyst, which is they don't have your expertise, so they might look at the data different. And you're going to get a lot of emails and a lot of calls like that. Hey, I'm looking at this, and this is looks something completely different of what we have in our reports. And then you have to go ahead and break it down, which is the same thing even using AI. But at least with AI, they have access to that data faster. They don't have to think through it and try to be a data analyst to get what they need. Hey, you can type in what they want to look at, and it will get generated for them. As a data analyst, you can use those features as well. But again, you need to validate, review, and validate before you put it there. Make sure it's accurate. Make sure, again, it has that context that we talked about. Make sure it's proper. Same thing if one of the executives generated something and looked at it the wrong way, they're going to reach out to you and you will be able. So this is why that expertise is very important. And you cannot just rely on AI doing your job. Again, so we circling back to those important points. But I do say, yeah, there are some tools that are very good and very powerful and very helpful. But at the same time, there are a lot of tools that, unfortunately, not that good. Honestly, should be completely avoided. Uh, it's a race. So let me look at it. So it depends on the company. So once AI got popular, now every company want to incorporate some AI feature into their product. Some of them took the right way, being thoughtful, and it's an addition to their product where it's really helping. Some companies that just decide, hey, we need to do it and we need to do it fast, just put something there. So in my marketing materials, I can slap the word AI in there. And usually those are the bad solutions.
Oh yeah, well that's the theme across all the businesses, and we see cases exactly in all kind of in all situations. Would you mind sharing some of your favorite and least favorite ones, please?
Uh, Least favorites, maybe not, but my favorites actually. I'm talking about Tableau, and especially, I was teaching Tableau. I like the AI feature in Tableau. I feel it's good. Even during the dashboard creation, it can make you create dashboards way easier, way faster. You know what you want to look at, so you can tell it exactly what type of data you can analyze, anomalies, and so on and so forth, way faster. At least will point you to the right direction more than mislead you, based on my experience. I like the Copilot feature in Excel. Now, as much as I hate to admit it, but a lot of people analyze data using spreadsheets and especially Excel. Again, there's very small level, small businesses, it's perfectly fine and it will do the job. And again, especially if you're a small business owner, I believe that Microsoft Copilot for Excel specifically is a good tool to get you what you need to do and basically do these analysis, you know, faster. Um, what I do not like, so I'm not going to name names, but there are tools that promise you the world and they're going to build you uh, I don't know, build you a dashboard out of nothing, and you don't need to know anything about data analytics. Um, and unfortunately, they're just gonna give you some top slop, but it's not even worth it. So yeah. Now that being said, full disclaimer: this is something that I personally pursued in the research or still pursuing in the research side of things. Okay, can we allow non-technical users to leverage some of these AI tools? But we're not there yet, like without like prior knowledge. So be careful of those promises when you basically purchase these solutions or use them. And I would say always, always, always try them first. So always ask for a trial and try them on projects you already worked on and compare the results of what you got and what it's producing. Uh, hey, maybe they give you a new perspective that you missed. And then you'd be like, okay, maybe it's completely off. Um, and so on and so forth. So yeah, try it on a project that you already done yourself. And that will give you like a good, accurate, or not that accurate, but good guesstimation of how good that tool is and how much you can trust it.
Oh, love this advice. Even without saying names, you managed to teach our listeners as to what they should be looking out for and how to even go about choosing what tools to learn, which is again a great insight that they could bring into their job conversations, interviews, and stuff. Well, this is how I evaluate the tools that I use in the first place. So that's a very good tip. Thank you so much. And so, looking back again at the whole journey for students who are going through trying to learn this data analytics pathway. So, it's a very long journey overall. How can people stay engaged, or what kind of tricks do you use, particularly yourself, in building our curriculum to keep people engaged?
So this is very important. So here's the delivery. That's something that I learned early on that people learn at different paces. And they all learn differently. Everyone, they have their own methods that works for them. So there isn't like a one size fit all kind of thing when it comes to learning. And this is the balance that you need to strike as a curriculum developer. You need to make sure that the people that learn fast don't get bored just scrolling and be like, oh my God, I need to, how much of this I need to read. I already got the point. And at the same time, not to go too fast for people that like to take some time and read things slowly and understand the points before go to the next one. Now, there are arguments on both sides. I would say on the accelerated programs, there is a very interesting book that I would recommend all educators and students as well, called "Making It Stick." So, how to make that information stick in your mind. And the argument that they make is it's better to go through the content fast at first, just to have like a big overview on where everything's fit, even if you don't understand everything, and then go ahead and revisit those topics and get them in detail and more details. So this is, I believe this, especially in these accelerator programs that you need to learn a lot in 6 months. I'd rather take this approach. Um, but without making the students feel the impact. Because if the students going through a material and feel like they stuck and frustrated and they're not learning, they might just abandon it. Even though, again, from that same book, they make the argument as of if you struggling through material and you moving through it like with hard effort, that's the information they're gonna stick in your mind the most. If you're going through it faster, a lot of those information is not going to stick. So if you're struggling, I know it's not what people want to hear. If you're struggling, it's a good thing. It's not necessarily that bad, because you know you're going to retain those information more. And I can tell you a lot of examples of students or even colleagues when I was at school, where you see people struggling every step of the way, and you can like, oh, they can make it. But at the end, after they graduate, you see them going through their career and thrive and really do good. And you don't understand it. You're like, hey, they were struggling a lot. I mean, good for them. You know what I mean? They must have did something that turned it over. But no, actually, that struggle that they had is what they didn't change anything. That struggle that they had during learning is what enabled and understanding these topics even um, more deep. So going back to the curriculum, so the way that I'd like to phrase it is at least the first few classes of each module, let's have an overview of where everything fits and where it fits in the bigger scheme of you being a data analyst before we start diving deeper into one of these topics individual. Um, so that's the approach I like in these accelerator programs.
Absolutely love this. Okay, so just to go even more granular, you're a student at Coding Temple, you just started in data analytics. Would you recommend a student to read through everything, all the modules in the course first, and then start again? Or do you more mean take module one, read through it quickly, then properly digest it? Module two, read it, properly digest it? Which one of those would it be more?
Per module.
Per module.
Um, just because modules are focused and you think like, oh, okay, so first module or hey, or module five, it's about Python. Okay. Um, and then later on, I'm going to do Panda. So it's all related, but no, you need to understand because they in sequence, you need to understand module one to go ahead and move into module two. So I would say cruise through module one, then go ahead and dive deeper into these little topics for module one, and don't move to the next one till you finish the one that you currently have.
Nice. Okay, cool. This is very valuable. To be honest, I've never heard this theory before, but definitely something I'm gonna look into for sure. Thank you. And so another point that we also mentioned that makes people stand out when they're looking for a job in data analytics field is being able to prove that they actually can do stuff rather than just know stuff. So recently at Coding Temple, we published a study of over 100 people who got placed in tech roles after their graduations. And one of the points actually was coinciding with what you're saying in terms of students should be building portfolios early on and taking on internships and so on. Talking about portfolios, what ideas for portfolio would you have? How people can even start building this out to be able to put in front of employer and talk about it?
So for me, for successful portfolios, I need two parts, honestly. I need one that it is your regular boring um, business analysis, whether they're revenue, HR, to just show like in a business settings, you can do it. The second thing, what I recommend to students the most, even after graduating, um, you still need to keep building that portfolio as you go, which are the best portfolio projects, which are your passionate project. Find an interesting project for you. Now, data is readily available. And then you got a lot of public sources. You can find a field or domain you're passionate about, or you're at least you're interested in, and find a data set about that topic and just go deep in it and just do something that you like and show a different perspective, show something fun. I mean, uh, not just, not just, hey, this is the business boring stuff. Yeah, you need to know those things, by the way, because this is very important. But if you show you adapt your skills on even a more fun project, be like, okay, so you know how to look at data. Um, whether analyzing. Uh, so I had prior students that analyzed the uh, characters of Ghibli Studios. And they got find some weird data set. I don't know where it came from, but hey, they found it and did it, and it was a fun project. It was something that stands out. Like if I look at a portfolio, I'd be like, wait, huh? I need to look at this. You know, that's something weird. Or video gaming strategies, like for a specific video game or something of that nature. Those are the projects that's going to make you stand out. On top of the business oriented project that's going to show, okay, you have a solid foundation to plug you in to their current pipeline or current projects that they have.
Nice. And what kind of projects people could, or how could they showcase their knowledge of AI and use of AI in their portfolio specifically?
Oh, very interesting point. Very important as well, which is something that I emphasized on as well. You need to be transparent as a professional. You need to be transparent of using AI and where it was used and how it was used. So documenting those processes, how did you do that and where did you use AI is very important. Number one, it gives you credibility. Like I'm not making AI doing the job and taking credit for it. And number two, you have a clear view of my process. Okay, I did this, I was cleaning, like when you document in your project, and you can ask my students, previous students, I obsess about documentation, just because it It is a very important part of what we do. But when you document in your project, hey, I did this, I cleaned the data, here are the steps. And if there are any of those steps, you used AI to do it, make sure to mention it. Hey, document even your use of AI within that project. And that, number one, give you credibility. Number two, we show the employer what are the tasks that were you delegated to AI to move faster, and what task you did yourself, and what type of review you did with those AI generated content, and so on and so forth. And again, you can show your AI proficiency even if the recruiter didn't ask about it, because when they're going to go ahead and look at your portfolio, it's right there.
Awesome. Othmane, this has been absolutely some golden tips throughout this whole conversation. If there was one final message to our listeners and to all those people trying to get into data analytics field, what would you want to say to them?
Hey, if you think about it, go ahead, head first, trust me. And if you are in it, enjoy your journey. Again, as we were talking, you might feel like you're struggling, you might feel it's too hard, but it's not. Just power through it. Trust me, it's gonna pay off at the end. Last advice, biggest mistake: do not try to match your colleague's pace. Do not look at the progress of your colleagues as a measurement of how good you're doing, because this is a trap a lot of students falls into. Be like, oh, everybody moving fast, and I feel like I'm behind. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe it's not for me. No, again, going back to people learn at different paces, and a lot of cases as well, those people that move in fast, as we said, they're not retaining most of that information. So at the end, they think they're good, which I've encountered few cases where students goes very fast through content or through material, and they think they did good, they just crushed it. But at the end, when it comes to the assessments, you can see there are like big gaps just because they cruised through some important topics as well. And there are the fast learners that genuinely understand the content faster and move on. But those should never be basically a measure for you. Use your own method, what works for you, use your own pace, as long as you fit within that program pace. It's going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to be a lot of hours, but only for 6 months. So this is the cool thing about it. You're not going to do this like for 3 years to get a university degree. You're not going to do this for 5 years to get a master. You're only going to work hard for 6 months and look at it as investments. All that time you're going to invest in those 6 months going to pay dividends on the long run. So yeah, go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Othmane. And so, everyone, if you love this episode, subscribe to Decoded, follow Othmane's work on LinkedIn, and even come to Coding Temple and have a look at our data analytics program, some of Othmane's work too. So, share it with anyone. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Decoded. And if you're a tech leader navigating the evolving world of AI and organizational design, or if you're someone looking to break into tech, change careers, upskill, or simply find the right job support, we're here to help. At Coding Temple, we specialize in talent pipeline advice and workforce upskilling, preparing people and teams for the future of work through hands-on training and our dedicated careers camp. Thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time as we explore more ways to thrive in a tech-driven world.